look at the first step. Okay. I mean, the first step, boom, good position, good posture, hands are inside. I thought the defensive end did a real good job of trying to hand fight, trying to knock his hands down, trying to win the battle. And that's more typical. This rep is probably more typical to what he'll see at the next level, just in regards to, the fight back that he's going to get from the defensive ends, at the professional level.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Music City Audible podcast. This is a special film breakdown episode. This episode will not be in your audio feeds. It's YouTube only. And what you just saw there was a short clip from what you're about to get. We wanted to give everyone a taste what they're tuning into this video to see. And holy crap, former IIMG head coach Kevin Wright, who brought JC Latham to IIMG Academy, helped him convert from defensive end to left tackle there, is our guest for today's show. And I don't know if we've ever had, we had Liam Cohen on, so no disrespect to Liam Cohen. I don't know if we've ever had a smarter coach help us break down film. Liam Cohen was awesome if you missed that a long time ago, but this was just as awesome, I think. Justin, how's it going?
This was unbelievable. Graver and I were absolutely honored. We wanted to hit you guys with the cold opening so you can see what you're going to get here. We just spent more than an hour breaking down JC Latham, All-22, from this past season against Georgia. We picked that game on purpose. Probably the best game he played all year. We just broke down every single play, All-22, with his IIMG head coach, Kevin Wright, who is an outstanding coach, did an unbelievable job there at IIMG for a long time, has spent the past four seasons coaching at the collegiate level at Indiana. This is really, really rare and a very special episode of the Music City Audible.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So let's get into it. The SEC Championship, looking at the coach's film from the end zone, JC Latham focus. Before we get to the breakdown, though, let's remind everyone the Music City Audible is brought to you by Sinkers Beverages in East Nashville and Bluegrass Beverages in Hendersonville. Great selection of booze, wine, bourbon, all kinds of spirits. Head over to sinkersbeverages.com or check the link in this podcast description to join the In-Crowd. In-Crowd members get access to allocated wines and spirits, early access to barrel releases, exclusive events, and more. So head over to sinkersbeverages.com. All right, Justin, without further ado, here is former IIMG Academy head coach Kevin Wright breaking down JC Latham versus Georgia. All right, we are thrilled to be joined now by Coach Kevin Wright. He was the head coach at IIMG Academy from 2015 to 2019, overlapping there with Titans' new left tackle JC Latham. He spent the last 4 seasons as the tight ends coach at Indiana, and he joins us today to break down some JC Latham film. We're going to look specifically at the Alabama versus Georgia game this past season, 2023. Coach, before we dive into it, I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit about what it was like coaching JC when he arrived at IIMG Academy as a defensive end before he converted to left tackle.
Well, when he walked in the door, I thought we got a chance, because you have this massive, I think he was 15, maybe 16 at the time, but just this massive guy that's great length, big smile, and I had watched a little bit of his tape before that, but just, getting to know him and just a little bit early on and, seeing the potential. I looked at the body, like I said before, I looked at the body and first came in and I said, man, you're going to grow. I didn't tell him this. I thought you're going to grow into an offensive tackle. We just had to slow play that until the time was right.
That's funny. All right, Coach. We're going to dive into the tape here, and just so everyone out there listening knows, we have edited this down. So we removed some plays where a handoff way away from JC or a quick pass where he wasn't really involved in the play, so we can really look and get an idea of what we're dealing with here. So here we go. This is early first quarter, and just a reminder to our audience, JC Latham is the right tackle at Alabama. Yes, he will play left tackle for the Titans, but he was a right tackle in college, so that's where your eyes go over here, number 65. In this first play, it's a play action pass, and we got a stunt over here on the right side of the offensive line that is just picked up so well. What are you seeing on this play, Coach, that allows JC? Is this more mental? Is this more technique, more physical? What do you think?
Well, first of all, you got 6 guys up, so pressure's coming, so whatever's going to happen is going to happen quick. And when you talk about JC, his elongated first step backwards, that kick step backwards, few people can get that type of depth that he's able to. So he puts himself in a great position to allow everything to kind of sort itself out. And that's why he's able to kind of easily pick up, the twist there. So, but, you look at what George is showing, they're showing 6 guys up. So it's an exotic blitz. I'm guessing it's 3rd down, but getting depth early. And you can see he's got great posture. He gets his hands right in the defensive end's chest, really doesn't have to reset. And what you see with JC a lot of times is force in small spaces. He is able to, he doesn't have to wind up, but just that forced, keeping his hands at the chest level, forced in small spaces, and basically just stops the rush. And then again, has the awareness there on the twist, is a late twist to pick up and finish the block. So, but it all starts with the ability to elongate that first step with depth and maintain good posture.
Yeah, you can see that there. And then as the twist comes around, like you said, it's late. You get some help there from his guard, and then pretty much it's over from there as the ball comes out. Unfortunately, not a good throw here on this play. All right, let's move on to the next one. We got a pass play here. Looks like a 5-man protection, no play action. I'm not sure if the back's involved here, but no, back evacs pretty quickly there. So Latham's one-on-one on the outside here, and similar to what you just said, he gets a lot of depth with that first step, and then his punch is perfectly timed right in the chest.
Yeah, again, this is even a better example. You got a wide rusher, so, he's not setting to him. He's setting with depth. And again, he's able to get his hands inside right now and win the battle, and you think about, with JC's size, you're looking at a speed rusher, the guy's not going to win that battle. And then just the ability to stay on and look at the posture. Again, when I talk about posture, I'm talking about the bend in the hips and in the knees, right there. That's a big man that's the end of the play, right? Is able to maintain that posture throughout, the course of what is a, 4 or 5 second throw here, it looks like. But, again, hard to beat a guy like that once he locks on and you can see, he's got his hands in the framework, you're not getting off that.
Yeah, once he gets his hands on you, it feels like the rep's over. And one thing we noted a lot that came out on Twitter and people who cover, the draft and stuff after the Latham was picked was this time to throw stat for some of the top tackles in the draft. And Alabama was up there, over 3.5 seconds average time to throw, which obviously makes the job of the offensive lineman a lot harder when you're blocking for longer than 2.5 seconds is a tough challenge.
Yeah.
So you can see how long he holds the block.
Most definitely. And again, some of that, the timing on the throw is by design. If they're down, taking shots down the field would take a little bit longer. But every offensive lineman would love the, quick game catch and throw, but not the case with what Alabama does. And they were obviously pretty successful.
And that grip strength, Coach, is that something you saw like early on at IMG? You get him at 15, 16 years old. Of course, it's much different, much developed nowadays. But was that something you identified early? Like, this kid's going to have terrific grip strength.
You know what? His hands are so big, so, I relayed the story earlier about, one of my memories was him having a basketball in his hand and looked like a miniature basketball, so you knew that with the potential was there. And again, that's what I'm talking about with the great force in a small space. This is hand-to-hand combat. He makes it look easy. There is no combat because he's locked on and the defender doesn't have the ability to get off at all. But you saw early on just with the hand size that he had that potential.
I noted for this play, I just wrote perfect rep. So that's pretty much what you got there.
Perfect rep.
This next one is the first run play we're going to look at. And you'll see Latham is over here on this outside. He's pretty much matched up one-on-one with this defensive tackle here, playing looks like a 3 technique alignment there. And he just gets great push off the line of scrimmage against this guy, coming to cut him inside, trying to turn him. And eventually he does turn him outside. How difficult is this block from this angle? What kind of strength does it take to execute this?
So he's got to try and cut off a 4 technique, an inside technique. And, that's he's not getting any help. The guard is down comboing with the center. So he's got to do it one-on-one by himself. And if you just look at the footwork, look at that quick first step and his hat, getting his hat in the hole, hand placement in the armpit. I mean, that's pretty much textbook. And again, he's knocking the guy backwards, at the same time. So, I might consider this on the finish there. I might call this a perfect rep. I don't do that much, but I mean, you look at, he's still finishing, and that's what you see with JC. I mean, the play's, 6 seconds into it, he's still engaged.
Yeah, my favorite part of this play is when 96 gets up on 1 foot right here. It's like, man, you are out leveraged, and like you said, it's just perfect technique, perfect rep.
Yeah. Good active feet, in the run game, which you have to have. He's not a leaner. He doesn't use his size to lean on people. He has active feet, which is why you see the power and the ability to knock people back, because I'm assuming that, that defensive lineman's probably 320-ish, so it's hard to knock a grown man off his spot.
Here's another rep in pass protection where he just holds his block for such a long time, working against a defensive tackle here. But, I mean, look at that. Just that once he gets his hands locked in the frame, it's like the rep is over for the defensive player.
Yeah. Again, I don't want to be repetitive, but, I mean, again, look at the first step. I mean, the first step, the depth he gains. Again, you look at the hip bend, which I'm calling posture. We talk about have a proud chest, big chest, get your hands inside. I mean, he's completely in great position. And this is probably a 4-second throw because, Milroe's back here all day long waiting on the play to develop. But, he is engaged the whole time. Just a great job,
And you can see the defensive tackle if you watch his right arm. A couple times right there, he tries to disengage from the blocker and get his arm inside, but quickly Latham works back to come inside again, and now the defensive tackle is lost. He's trying to get his arm inside, but he can't win that battle.
No, and, again, some of it's the length, but a lot of it is the force on the initial punch, and he does it. JC, he doesn't have to repunch. I mean, once he punches with his length, the defender's never able to get close enough or close the gap. So he's really ends up in a bench press position right there, a full lockout bench press position, which again is not easy to do against a down lineman.
Yeah, look at the extension, right? Like, as you said,
Correct.
Full extension there.
Correct. I mean, it's like he's finishing it, the end of a bench press. Correct.
So as much as we like to talk about the good plays, Latham's not a perfect prospect entering the NFL. And on this one, we can see he gets beat inside. We talked about on some of these reps so far, the quick step, the gaining depth outside, but that can open you up to the inside counter. What does he need to do maybe a little bit better on this play, Coach?
Yeah. So if you go all the way back, we are in true 5-man protection, so, he's one-on-one, it looks like to me the way they're, protecting here. He's one-on-one, so he oversets. Where earlier he was getting a little bit more depth, maintaining his shoulders square to the line of scrimmage. You can see he oversets and allows the guy to come inside. So, I think if he sets with a little bit more depth, just again understanding I got no help on this, and he has a two-way go, and you can see this is another. They're twisting the backside defensive tackle all the way around to the outside. So, it's versus 5-man protection. Again, we talked about this earlier. There's a little bit of an IQ component to it. He's got to stay locked on. And it does take a while for the blitz to actually unfold. But, I think he just oversets, quite honestly. And you can see how wide his feet are here. He doesn't have that same good base that we've been talking about. His posture's a little bit off. He's got his arms outside. His elbows should be in, which again puts him in an awkward position. So, it's not perfect, but again, I don't know the down and distance here, but it looks like it's probably a passing situation. So, he will learn, and this is an example where he can get better, but not good posture, not a great first step, kind of gives himself gives a defender an opportunity to beat him inside.
Yeah. And when you talk about just, so everyone listening can understand gaining depth versus going outside, you're talking about more setting back this way versus jumping out this way.
Yeah, he's just a little bit wide on his set,
Yeah.
Again, you can, if it's slide protections, you can get by with that sometimes, but when it's one-on-one, you can't overset like that because there is no help. There's just nobody to help you there. So, but no, he's not perfect, but it's he's a work in progress for sure, but he's a good work in progress.
I'll say to everyone out there, we'll see a couple more reps against an inside counter like that, and we will see improvement as this tape goes along. All right, this next one, we're looking at a combo block in the run game. Again, Latham here, getting a combination block here with his guard.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's a tight end coming down. So, he's a post on the combo. So we're going to get a 2-on-1 here. They're actually running zone read here. So, I think that the key on this one is he doesn't know if the ball is getting handed off, or if the quarterback's going to pull the ball. So they want to get initial movement, and destroy the down defender. And you can see the down defender, once he feels, the double team, tries to kind of run around it, so, basically takes himself out of the play. So they're coming down. They're coming down with the tight end and the tackle. Combo block, the tight end does a nice job kind of knocking him back on to JC. And again, the ball could hit up in the middle if the quarterback hands the ball off. They had Alabama had a lot of design, zone read type plays. So that's one where, you just run your track, because you don't know where the ball is going to end up.
Right. We might see some plays like that with Will Levis's ability to use his legs in Tennessee.
Correct.
So. All right, this next one, we're looking at another run block here, and this time he's kicking out that defensive end on the left side of your screen, right side of the offensive line, and just drives him back as the ball comes through the crease in the middle.
Yeah, when I watch this, so he's on the front side of a zone insert play, so you can see him take his zone step, lock on, drive the feet, and I think the most impressive part of this is once he locks on, he continues to drive his feet and he finishes. He finishes the block. Just you can see it. We're all the way down 6, 7 yards, 8 yards down the field.
Yeah. Ball carrier is on the ground already, and he's still driving this defender.
He is, and you know what? That is an example of what happens when you practice hard. You just don't turn that on in the game. So that has been repped. I know by their offensive line coach and rep, finish, which is what you saw right there. So, again, nice job,
Graver, when I see a rep like this one, the first thing I think of is it's plays like this that made Bill Callahan say he's my favorite player in the draft.
Yeah, that finishing. There is one thing I'd like to ask you about, Coach, here that we did a film breakdown of J.C. Latham against Texas a couple of months ago before the draft. And one thing we noted as an area to improve is this, sometimes in the run game, he gets himself leaned over a little bit. In this rep, it doesn't hurt him because he's able to lock on. But we did see him in that Texas game whiff on a couple of blocks because he gets his head down, he gets his eyes down. Is that something you think that just with, continued repetition, he can improve that area?
Yeah, and I think that exactly. And I think that, the Texas game was early on, so, the amount of true live reps you get early on in preseason college football is very similar to it's even less in the NFL where you have some preseason games. So I think you see the evolution and, and obviously Texas had a very good football team, but you just don't anymore. There's not a ton of full speed live reps where you see that type of speed. So it's easy in the early games, to not get your hat down, your technique goes out the window. And, but again, I think that, this is a better example down the road, later in the season of better technique, head up, gets us again, good hand placement and, just finishing. So, but that's fairly normal. I mean, that's, the big complaint, right now in the NFL is, the preseason games and, how much should we do? How much live? But there has to be a point where, they get some live action. And unfortunately in college, a lot of times that's not until, really your first game.
Right. And that's why we see these bigger programs sometimes schedule against smaller schools to
Yeah. I was going to make
knock
that
the
point.
rust off.
That's a great point. Texas isn't really a warm-up game, so.
Yeah. All right, this next one we see another stunt pickup here. And I like the patience from JC, just sort of waiting to see what's going to happen. Because 97 takes his first step hard inside, right? So JC's got his eyes on him. He's got his hand out ready for this looping 78 to come around. And then once he gets contact with him, he has him. The only thing I will say on this play is right here. I mean, this is no discredit to JC because Milroe's holding the ball for such a long time. But would you like to see him continue to, we talked about how well he finished that run play a second ago. Would you like to see him continue finishing this block out?
This is tough. And, if you go all the way back, again, I don't, I'm assuming this is a passing situation because, Georgia's in a 3-down look, and so, and it's 5-man protection. So, he sets, waits on the twist, and unfortunately, he has no idea that Melo drifts outside the pocket, so, I mean, his job is to stay between, the defender and the quarterback. So and you preach this all the time to your quarterbacks, you get outside the pocket, you're kind of on your own because the offensive linemen aren't taught that, so, he's not really anticipating that. I think again, just the time of the play and how much long balls not thrown, and then he drifts outside, so now you got an incredible athlete out here who's going to end up making a positive game out of it. So that's the plus side of it. So, but I don't know that you can put that on JC, just based on, what the protection is.
Right. This next play here, I did a little cut up of JC, just all of his pancake blocks from last season, and it wasn't even all of them. I got to 2 minutes, and I was like, this is already too long for Twitter, so I posted it as is. This is one that made that reel, though, and it's kind of hard to see because of the way the cameras move in at the same time, but JC's going to come up to the second level here and pancake this linebacker, just get him on the ground.
Yeah, again, zone read play. It's actually a combo block. So what I'm impressed with, he steps down right now, gets his hand on the inside defender, and he knows, boom, that guy's gone, and he climbs right now. So he's in his lap. He's in the linebacker's lap. Very quickly, just because of his ability to decipher the play and get to the second level. And again, here we go. We're locked on. Feet drive, hand placement, finish. But I think the success on that play, linebackers usually feel protected, and he's able to climb so quickly, and he's on the linebacker, right now. I think that makes it really tough on the linebacker to even, try and anticipate that, So again, those are little things, right? I mean, those are just little things that he does so well that people don't, just the step. Boom, punch, analyzing the play, and now he's vertically right upside, on the linebacker. I just the second level pancake you don't see a ton. You just don't. So.
And how about that ability to line up the defender in space without whiffing on this block against a smaller, quicker guy? Yeah,
I mean, look, again, you're exactly right. And it's a zone read play again. So he doesn't know if the ball is being handed off vertically, which he's in good position. Right. If the ball does get handed off vertically to the back, he's in good position, So I love the ability as he climbs to square up. And again, hands inside, the feet, are not, keeping his feet moving. Those are just special traits. The bend in the hips, and then just the violence, at the end to finish. And, yeah, Coach Cal, any offensive line coach loves to see that, just that violent finish.
And a quick note, Graver, before we move on to the next play, I know, a bit of an unfair matchup, you'd say, in space, but that's Mondin Jr. That's one hell of a football player for this Georgia front seven. That's one hell of a football player. 68 tackles this year for that defense, projected, potential first-round pick when he comes out. That's a really, really good football player.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying. I mean, he's on, JC's on him so quick. He's used to be able to read and go, right? I mean, read and go, make the play. And JC's on him so quick he can't do it, which very good football player. But, by the time he diagnoses a play, it's too late. So,
Yep. All right, we're going to pick up the pace here a little bit as we finish up the first quarter with a few more plays here. This is another play action pass, and on this one we'll see JC recover and reset his anchor here as he protects his quarterback. Gets knocked back just a couple of steps, very minorly, but then the way he's able to just anchor down against this power bull rush and hold his ground, so impressive.
Yeah, and again, it's if you go all the way back, I'm assuming it's third down because they got, look at the number of guys. They got 6 up and a 7th guy with the potential to come from the outside. So they got to diagnose, who they're going to block. And one of the few times I saw on tape where they do try and bull rush him. So yes, he does get knocked back a little bit, and then he's able to reset, get his hands back inside, and stop the defender. And once again, you see that, and I think this one is more, Jalen kind of gets, pushed out of the pocket because of the backside rush, but he's in really good position right there if the ball's thrown, from the spot that it's designed to be thrown from.
Right. The rest of the Bama offensive line here, they're a little leaky, but not JC.
No.
All right, here we have another run play where we're going to see him help and climb to the second level. This help here, I mean, he just obliterates this defensive tackle.
Yeah, you know what? This is the coach in me, okay? But, you look at this combo block. Again, there's that quick first step on an inside technique, work vertical, try and get your hat inside. I thought this play could have gone forever. I thought the back just kept it more vertical, just based on if you see JC come off right there, and if he just keeps it vertical, he's right up the hash. So, again, this is one where your offensive line coach, you're sitting and you're saying, okay, running back, stay vertical, stay on your landmark, because it would have been even that much more impressive. It may have been another pancake block, on a second level defender, but that's you can't control all those things. But again, look at his posture, his shoulder square, his everything is the way you want it. But he's creating a two-way go. But normally the back's taught to stay north-south, stay up the hash, and that could have been I watched that over and over earlier, and thought that could have been a big time run.
Oh yeah. And just the way he clears 78 out of the hole completely. I mean, obviously he gets help from his guard, but it's this hit that just launches him from one side of the hash marks to the other.
Hey, forced again. I keep saying it, forced in a small space. Forced in small space, and that's when you can do that, you're good.
This one, I love the rep here in pass protection because of what you see with the hand fighting here.
Yeah.
And the defensive end, I think, does a good job to knock Latham's arms down right there.
Yes.
But the way he's able to reset his punch so quickly and stay inside the numbers, I mean, that is just insane hand technique right there.
It really is. And I think the key thing, we keep talking about the force, in the combat fighting, but, he never has to take his elbows, his elbows never have to extend back. So he's able, like a boxer, to keep his hands up front, and continue to fight the good fight, and that's really impressive to me. The punch reset, doesn't ever have to wind up at all. And again, this is another down the field throw, takes a long time. But you go back, look at the first step. Okay. I mean, the first step, boom, good position, good posture, hands are inside. I thought the defensive end did a real good job of trying to hand fight, trying to knock his hands down, trying to win the battle. And that's more typical. This rep is probably more typical of what he'll see at the next level, just in regards to, the fight back that he's going to get from the defensive ends, at the professional level.
All right, we're moving to the second quarter here. We got another pass protection here, 5-man protection against a 4-man front. And again, I just think this is another perfect rep in pass pro.
Yeah, I mean, they're short setting here. Okay, again, so he's not taking an elongation, but at the same time, Georgia stems late. Okay, and this is what we talked about, earlier. That you can see there's an inside technique. They stemmed. So he's got to be able to sort things out. They're on the man side, back side, so he stays locked on. So there's a football IQ and some awareness. But again, we're 5-6 yards deep, and he's still got the good posture, the good hands inside. Just giving his quarterback a chance. So.
And Titans fans hope he's going to give Will Levis plenty of chances like that. All right, here we have another one of those combo blocks where he just obliterates the defensive tackle before climbing to the next level. And if we thought the last one was impressive, moving him out of the hole, this one takes it to another level. Latham's right here. You're going to see him just obliterate this guy before he climbs up to the second level.
Yeah, I mean, again, you see the good first step on the combo. We're trying. The way that's taught, you're trying to get your hands on the hip. Boom. Just that's just how it's taught. Get your hands on the hip, knock him over to the other offensive alignment, and then work vertical. And he gets a little shoulder in there, which creates a little bit more force. But those are the things that we're talking about that, you can't coach. And, hats off to my good friend, David Ballou, who's the head of performance at Alabama, because the development, of JC and really all these guys year after year. But, you watch a play like this, and this isn't normal. It's just not. So just the force all the way across.
Love that play.
And Coach Ballou, like you said, Coach, he was with you at IMG, right? So he had JC at IMG, and then he gets him again at Alabama.
Well, I think he actually had gone. He had left. He may have been at Notre Dame or at Indiana. So he went from IMG, okay, to and they came in and saw him working out, and then Coach Ballou went to Notre Dame, and then he went to Indiana actually as an associate or as the head strength coach. And then I get there and he decides to go to Alabama. So, but we'll just say there's a lot of communication. There was always a lot of communication on the guys that we were, that we were handing off. But that always helps too, right? I mean, to trust people.
Here we are in pass protection again, a little play action pass, and this one, he's sort of trying to navigate what could be a stunt here as the defensive lineman end kind of goes inside. We got a little bit of action, but it doesn't turn out to be a stunt. So I think good recognition by JC here. And the same thing we keep saying, just once he gets locked on, he is locked on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, this is a play action protection. So they're trying to sell run. I mean, they're not deep setting. They're trying to sell run, keep defenders on the line of scrimmage. And then, again, he locks on and just neutralizes the defender, which is what you want here. So just a nice rep, probably on an early down, I'm assuming. Well, they're taking a down the field shot, which is part of their offense.
Yeah. Okay, we got another run play here coming up. And we're going to see him kick out from the inside. This is such an interesting concept to me because you got this, what is this, a 2 technique here on the inside. And Latham's going to make, I guess you call this a reach block, coming around and kicking him out to open up a lane inside there.
Yeah, so this is, I mean, there's more to this play than, so this is a counter play, right? They're pulling the guard and tight end. So JC's job is he's got to step down and hinge. And so he's stepping down into the gap. If there's anything there, he takes it. If not, he hinges back. So, you can see his eyes are squarely on the defender who could run through where the guard's pulling from. Okay. He doesn't, so he steps and hinges and then walls the guy off outside. So, and Alabama does a really good job of, run a lot of counter plays but the step and hinge, you're, on the backside of a counter play or a power play, you're always one gap short, in regards. That's why the tackle in this situation has dual responsibilities. But I'm looking at his eyes. Eyes are perfect where they need to be, again, just some simplistic things that aren't really that simple, quite honestly, but he's making it look he makes it look pretty simple.
Does that quite a bit. We got another play action pass here. Very weak play action fake, but it still counts. And he's matched up one-on-one with the defensive end. And again, this is a little bit quicker than some of the ones we've seen, but just that ability to hold his block for such a long time.
Yeah, I mean, you got a wide rusher, he sets, I like his initial set. Gets his hands on. I think he does lose his posture a little bit here, as the play goes on. Gets a little bit higher than what he normally does. But so you can see almost straight-legged right there, but he's still battling, and at the end of the day, it's one-on-one, mano-a-mano. I got to beat my defender, or I got to beat the guy across from me, which is what he does. So I think we're kind of late in the second quarter, somewhere in the middle of the second quarter. So he's probably feeling we're inside. It's a big game. He's probably got a little tired right now, which is why, he loses a little bit of his posture that you saw earlier.
But even as he loses that, he doesn't give up any ground. Well, go ahead, Justin.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to quickly note on this rep once again, that's Michael Williams that he's one-on-one with in this rep. Okay, I see Coach Latham over there. If you read this week, Graver, a lot of fans have been reading 2025 mock drafts. Well, here's your projected number one pick in a lot of those mock drafts. This is one hell of a football. This guy, he's an interior guy, to my knowledge, correct, Coach? And they're kicking him outside here for this rep. This is a really, really special look at this rep here.
Yeah, I mean, you got both linebackers. You got an exit stunt inside. You put they move their people around a little bit to try and create some matchup issues. But he once he locks on, he's locked on. And I think that's one thing that guys that are as athletic, some of the linemen and linebackers are from Georgia. They have a little bit of a tough time with JC because he locks on people so quick. And then he finishes, which is the key, obviously.
That is your projected number one overall pick potentially as of right now, Graver.
Yeah, that's crazy. All right, we're going to look at these next two plays sort of in unison here. It's back-to-back stunt pickups. The first one, I think he executes very well. Here you can see that defensive tackle kind of crashing inside as the end loops around to the inside. And this one looks pretty good.
Again,
we'll go to the next play here. And
no, I just go ahead. Good vertical set. Same thing we're talking about. Good vertical set allows him to pick up the twist without any issue. Right.
Yeah, getting depth there. And then the next one here, I called it messy but effective in my notes on this play, which I think sums it up well. You got this late shift by the defensive line, which can always, sometimes that can throw off the offensive line protection plan, knowing who's got who and which way they're sliding, depending on what the protection call is. But here you can see right before the snap, he's identified the new formation. He's like, that's who I got.
Yeah, I mean, this was the one where I said, okay, there's good communication. It looks like he's on the man side of the protection. So, that's why he's pointing out, I got him, unless this happens. We get a twist. Mm-hmm. So, again, you can see the technique, posture, kick step, shoulders, and hands are right where they need to be. Easy pass off. But it all started in that play, it all started with the communication.
And I'm watching his head here as he's getting ready to throw a punch. It looks like his head snaps inside as he becomes aware of this tackle right there. Bang. Yeah. I mean, I'm playing this frame by frame and it looks like his head turns all the way in like 2 frames.
Now, I'm going to give JC a lot of credit on this comment, but if he had watched tape and he's seen this, he's watching the defender. If you watch a defensive end take one false step, it's a fake step. He's stepping to try and draw the eyes for the twist. And JC obviously had studied film because as soon as he took that step, he knew that guy wasn't coming upfield based on his second step. There was going to be a twist. So, I think that says something about, again, football IQ, study the game and not just study the scheme, study your opponent, So, I would assume that's probably why he's able to pick that up so quickly because he's watched it and, he was prepared for it.
And once again, Graver, that's Michael Williams looping to the outside. So talk about handling a top, 5-star recruit on the fly like that. So impressive.
And Williams does a really nice job with his inside arm here, sort of cross-chopping Latham's arms away. Look at that with power. And that's why I called this messy but effective. Because right here, it's like your arm's a little outside. He's not holding him. He's not turning him at all. But his arm gets outside. His head gets low. He's bent over a little bit. A little bit of a bear hug, but I think Latham does a nice job bringing his arms back in before he can get called for a hold there. and he does enough. It's an effective play.
Yeah, I mean, he stays connected, right? I mean, he stays connected, and you can see how athletic Williams is. Williams trying to get up and get his hands on the ball, and he's not able to because JC is right in his chest, and that's just, when you're that big and that massive. And again, it's a want-to factor, guys. I mean, like, he wants to block him on that play, or Williams gets up and probably knocks the ball, gets his hand on the ball.
I like to call that rep good on good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely.
All right. This next one, the only note I wrote for this play, it's another rep in the run game, is bully, because that is what he does to this defensive end here. I mean, it's almost like the way he just tosses him to the ground there. And it's not, I mean, sometimes you want to stay connected and drive the guy off the line of scrimmage, but other times it's fun, I think, to just watch a guy get thrown to the ground.
Well, and I think that, again, they watch film, right? And you got a wide rusher. He probably knows this guy wants to get upfield and rush the passer. He doesn't want to have much to do with the run game. And so he takes like 2 steps up the field and, he just, throws him out of the way, and again, I don't know if it's great technique, but it tells me that he has studied and he knows his opponent, and he's just going to let the guy run up the field and really run himself out of play,
Yeah. All right, we got another pass protection here that I think is a great rep, 1-on-1 against a wide rusher, and this is the kind of stuff the Titans are going to ask him to do at the next level because, just talking about the Titans roster specifically, a lot of unknowns on that right side. You expect that the team's going to send help that direction more often than not, which means JC is probably going to be left on an island most of the time, one-on-one with some wide rushers. And here it's just like, I mean, we've talked about it a lot, but he makes this look easy. Like, it doesn't even look like he has to try hard to neutralize this rusher.
Yeah, and it all starts with technique. We keep saying the same thing, but you look at the kick step, and then, active feet, active hands, active feet, active hands. But his shoulders, you can see him keep in good posture. Even if the guy, was tried to up and under, he's in good position, in this situation. Again, and you can see him holding his posture all the way 6, 7, 8 yards deep, So, obviously, Georgia has really good players. He's going to see even better players at the next level. But if you're able to hold your posture that deep, you're going to give your quarterback a chance.
All right, we're going to start picking up the pace here, as that was our last play of the first half. We're in the third quarter here, and I do think we're going to spend a little more time on this one because it's another example of JC giving up the inside rush. But I also wonder on this play if there was maybe a miscommunication somewhere, because at that moment, he sort of just looks confused. He's like, wait a sec, I thought someone else was picking up 93, maybe the back, maybe someone else, and he sort of ends up not really blocking anyone on this play.
Yeah, here again, I'm guessing this is a third down play because this is an exotic look. You got 6 up, and then they're bringing the corner off the edge. Okay, so, theoretically, he's got to sort things out, and that's probably why he does get a little confused, because if you watch, this is a very unusual blitz. The guy that's coming, the edge rusher is actually the corner, and then the defensive end is dropping back, it's into coverage, so to speak. So, there's some thought process there, and again, without knowing exactly what the protection rules are, I don't know if he's wrong or not. I looked at this and I assumed he probably had the corner, and is what my assumption was. But obviously, this is something that, is a design blitz, is exotic. When you bring a guy from that far away, okay, you are trying to catch the tackle off guard, and you can see, that is who JC is supposed to block, which I thought he probably was on this play. He's not. He has no awareness. Now, flip side is this blitz takes a long time. So the ball probably should be out, but and he does get to throw off and in time, but. Yes, very good points by you. But 6 man up, and then they bring the corner. So a little bit exotic blitz there by Kirby Smart. So that's why they're so good.
I was going to say tip of the cap to Coach Smart, because this is one hell of a play design.
And do you think this speaks to, I mean, we just saw the first half. We saw Latham absolute dominate, hit every one-on-one rep he had, except for that one inside win. Is this Kirby Smart at halftime saying, look, we can't get pressure just rushing straight up. Even our stunts aren't working. We got to get exotic with these blitzes or else we're not going to get to Milrow in this game.
Yeah, and I think this is a chance. This is first time we've seen them bring, a secondary player. They're bringing the corner, and it's from the boundary, so at least it gives you a little bit of a chance. But I think what they're trying to do is just make them think. Try and neutralize. To your point, try and neutralize JC and the rest of the offensive line, and then also the skill people that Alabama has. Because I know they're scared to death that Milrow is going to take off and run, which is always nice when you have that threat to defend as well.
All right, here we have another rep against the inside rush. This one's not great, but it's a good job. It's a better job here as he's mirroring the rusher here, holds him inside, and you know what? This is a good job. I was a little too hard on him a second ago. This is a good job, and he even gets the rusher onto the ground here at the end of this play. Yeah,
and here's a little, this is what we were talking about earlier. It's similar to what the blitz we saw earlier. It's a corner blitz. They're bringing the corner fire, from the edge now. And this, I could have been wrong earlier because here the back is picking him up. So that puts JC one-on-one, with the defensive end. So again, just a situation where keeps the shoulder square, which he didn't do earlier, and keeps his feet moving, so he's able to, kind of neutralize that inside move.
And it's interesting here because he doesn't jump outside with his set here. He's mirroring where the defensive end is going.
Yeah, and again, I think he probably learned a little bit early on in the game, when he did get beat. So, that's what you want. Don't make the same mistake twice, right?
Right. Here we see drive off the line of scrimmage, and obviously he gets some help from his right guard here, but just the leg drive and the push to move 52 so far out of the hole. I mean, that's the defensive tackle. That's the guy that's supposed to take on blocks and let the linebackers flow to the ball, and he just gets completely moved out of the play.
Yeah, I mean, coaches like to talk about, on combo blocks, you want to take the down defender and put him in the lap of the linebacker. This is a good example of them doing that, and you can see the nobody really ends up coming off on the linebacker because linebacker fits backside. But nice job getting initial movement. They brought their heads up. Again, I think pretty well done.
I mean, he's about 3.5, 4 yards off his spot. It looks like he's pushing them back about 3.5, 4 yards.
Yeah, I mean, they're doing what they're coached. You can see that the linebacker's not committing, so they're not coming off the combo. So,
right. Here we have another. This is an interesting one because I'm a little confused, Coach. I hope you can explain it to us. We have him sort of beat inside, but also it looks like a stunt where he's able to pick up the looper. So he sort of gives up that inside pressure, but turns around and finds 93 to block him. I don't know if this is a miscommunication between him and 77, the right guard, because number 11 ends up getting a hit on the quarterback.
Yeah, as I watch, I always to determine which is the sword side, which is the man side. You're kind of watching the center and the back, right? So the center, you can see the center turns left, which tells me that the man side is probably on JC's side. So that means hey, we're locked on unless there's a twist. So that's probably what he's trying to do. He's waiting on things to sort out. And again, this isn't a normal twist because look where the twist is coming from. It's coming from the backside shade. Who's coming all the way around. So have to have some patience, have to read things out, which is, a combination of him and the guard. But again, it's a well-designed blitz. It's a well-designed, pressure part of their package. Georgia's got a very expanded package. And, so they're making those offensive linemen think, and that's why sometimes it is hard to tell is he locked on the right guy or not? Because that's what Georgia wants to do. They want you to make you think. So, and we're watching in slow We're watching in slow motion, not at full speed. So it's a little easier.
Right. Yeah, here it is at full speed. It's like, I mean, within the blink of an eye, that guy's stunting inside, and you got the looper coming around. But we'll move on here, looking at another play action pass where Milrow doesn't do his offensive line any favors here. I noted he drifts into the sack here, which it's JC's guy, but come on, this is a great pocket until, 56 gets beat in the middle. But from JC's perspective, this is a great job sealing off the edge, giving your quarterback a pocket, and Milroe just runs right into the defender.
Yeah.
And look at JC afterwards. He like throws his hands up like, man, what are you doing over here?
Yeah. I mean, and that's, that's part of it sometimes. Right. But he's doing his job. Again, you can see good set. He's widening the defender. You'd really like to see, Jalen kind of just step up in the pocket. Just step up.
Yeah.
And the last thing you want to do is lose ground outside because you're going to take a sack and or throw maybe throw the ball away there. But yeah, that's tough for an offensive lineman. I've been in those meetings. That's tough for an offensive lineman. So.
Here we have another just great rep in pass protection. I think we don't need to spend too much time on this because we've seen it so many times now. A little bit later with the recovery here, but a similar
really wide rusher.
Play.
Really wide rusher coming off the field trying to speed rush. So, it is delayed. The contact is delayed, but you can see he's 3 yards outside, coming as fast as he can on a speed rush.
Yep, and Latham gets his hands on him there, and then it's over.
Yeah.
All right, here's what we've been waiting to see. I teased it a long time ago. This is a dominant win against an inside counter here. Latham one-on-one with the defensive end, gonna not stunt, but fake outside, and then sort of crash it inside. And Latham is right there to pick it up, gets back in front of him, maintains his shoulder square, loses a little bit of his posture, but this is about as good as you can hope for when you've been beaten inside a few times, and then this is how you respond.
Yeah, again, and I always look at what the defense is trying to do. A lot of movement, a lot of twists, bringing second level defenders. So, he locks, again, doesn't overset and is able to lock and redirect, so he's able to step, redirect, lock, and then just wash the defender down. And again, some of me thinks maybe the guard and JC right there have the 2 outside defenders, but all that takes a long time, to take place. So quarterback gets the ball off, big play, when you're bringing that much pressure, you kind of open yourself up to some big plays right there. So,
right. All right, here we're going to see JC just sort of cave in the entire right side of this line. Look at the hole. This is one of those ones where John Madden would say you could drive a truck through that hole. Look at that.
Yeah, there's the counterplay again, right? So he's got to step down now. The guy, there's the open gap. So he's got him, all the way. So he knows, boo, I got to stay locked on, and boom, I'm blocking. That is a power play. Excuse me. I'm blocking down, and he does a great job. I think the guys maybe on a little bit of an inside move, which helps, but at the same time, there's force.
And then look at that finish. Good night. All right, we have just a handful of plays left here. We got 2 back-to-back great reps again in pass protection. One-on-one with the defensive end. Just locks him out and look how long he has to hold this block, and it's perfect. I have no notes.
Yeah, again, it's at this point, it's a stalemate, and I guess later in the game, and and here's one where the quarterback's still drifting too, which even makes the job that much harder. But he stays connected. I think at this point he's probably felt him drift enough where he's like, I better stay connected, and then he does, and able to get the ball off.
Yeah. And we're nearing the end of the game here where Alabama's got to score. So this is an important drive. And you'll see on the next snap here, now they've moved the ball. They're down near the end zone, and it's another great rep in pass protection for Latham on the outside. And the result is the go-ahead touchdown here for Alabama. So huge point in the game, step up one-on-one, and just neutralize the rusher again. Look how wide that pocket is because of what JC's doing. What is this, like 8 yards?
Yeah, and to me, guys, look at the bend He's 6, 7 yards deep. The bend in the hips, which is what I keep using the term posture, but it's just, that's something that he's so good at, and he's so massive, and the active feet, and we talked about the hands, but that's a well-coached guy. I mean, for sure.
And he's going to continue to be a well-coached guy with Bill Callahan taking the reins. All right, now we're at the end of the game here, where Alabama just needs to run the ball and get first downs, and they will be able to run out the clock and take a knee. So Latham here makes the reach block, turns that defensive tackle outside so that the ball can run in the other direction.
Same thing, misdirection. Yeah, I was going to say power. It's a power play, so he's got B gap hinge. So he's stepping down and locking on, and then he turns the guy all the way out. On the quarterback power there.
Yeah. Melo stays in bounds because, again, they're trying to run the clock out here. So here we are. This is the finishing play of the game. If they get the first down, they win the game. So first we'll see Latham help at the first level and then climb to the second level. I think he maybe over pursues the linebacker a little bit here, but he's able to recover and seal off that inside lane for Milroe to get the first down.
Yeah, I mean, this is a quarter. Again, they're using some misdirection with the jet sweep action. They're running. Really, it's just a quarterback power. So I think he's expecting it to be a little bit more vertical than what it ends up being, which is But he does it to your point. He's able to redirect and run the defender out of the play. So I think he initially plays probably designed to be a little bit more vertical, and the quarterback gets a little wider, but you can see the gap that is created there.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just a great job because not everything's going to happen the way it's drawn up, and that's like a classic thing that coaches have to teach is like sometimes it's not perfect, and you got to improvise and recover on the fly and read the play and adjust to it. And I think that that's a great trait that Latham shows here, that he has that ability.
Yeah, well, I think most of the time it's not perfect, especially in the run game. But just keeping your technique, stay connected, stay with your fundamentals, which is what he does. But if you get to go ahead and run it just a little bit. He's all the way off balance for a big man, and he's able to redirect. There. Okay, he's all the way off balance. He sticks his foot in the ground and redirects. And gets back into contact. So. Again, doesn't get much, but he gets enough. But just the ability to redirect 7 yards down the field, with that frame, impressive athletically.
And that did it. Alabama was able to win this game and therefore go to the college football playoff. If they hadn't won this game, it would have been Georgia in their place. So, Coach, we really, really appreciate your time here. We've been chopping it up with you for over an hour. So thank you so much for sitting down and talking us through. I know I learned a lot personally. Justin?
Oh, outstanding stuff. Exactly what we were going for. So thank you so much, Coach, for this. And that's a heck of a young man that you got your hands on really early, and had an opportunity to help mold him into the athlete and the human being that he's become. And we know the Titans are so excited about both of that, the on-field and the off-field aspects.
Yes.
That's coming with him, and we thank you as well for making sure that he was on the right path and kept on the right track in the development he's taken from the time that you first got your hands on him to him getting to Alabama, going from DE to O tackle like you guys did over there. Just outstanding stuff. In fact, I'm about to get the second part of that story. I'm hopping on the phone with George in about 30 minutes here to get a second part of it, but just unbelievable stuff, man. Really, really.
Well, it's been a lot of fun going back and really watching him play in depth, because he was a little bit more raw as a 16, 17-year-old, but you made a great point when we talked earlier about him transitioning to left tackle, and I reminded, I think I brought it up. I said, well, he never really had to play left tackle at Alabama because they had a guy named Evan Neal, who I also had an IIMG, playing left tackle, but, JC is, to your point, both guys' points, everybody's points. He's where he's at right now. He was drafted that high, not just because he's a great player. He's a great human being. And I think that, the Titans, the whole city of Nashville, state of Tennessee, I think you're going to, be really happy with him, as a not just a football player, but somebody who's going to be around the city and impact, in a lot of different ways. So I'm proud of him. And as we talk, it's not easy when you're 15 years old to leave your home in Wisconsin and go all the way off and be at a boarding school and really focus. But fast forward, it's paid off for him. So thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I probably had more fun than you guys did. I had you guys send me tape. I'm loving it. So appreciate it.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Coach. We had a great time here, but again, thank you so much for your insight. And maybe we'll check back in with you in a little bit after we get to see JC take the field for the Titans.
Yeah, that'd be good. I'd enjoy that. And don't let George take all the credit for the development. I mean, don't let George take all the credit for the development. But no, a lot of people, going all the way back to his high school coaches, his little league coaches, and his family. He's had a great support system. So, but enjoy the rest of your day, guys. And if I can ever help you, I would love to.
That was tremendous stuff, Justin, and I'm serious. I learned a lot during that session. I mean, I thought I knew how to break down film pretty well. I'm pretty good at it, but nowhere, am I not even close to the level of these guys that do it on a professional level. How about Kevin Wright? Really, really appreciate his time giving us that insight here.
I mean, that was unbelievable. I don't know about you Titans fans, but I feel even better, about the JC Latham pick after doing that with Coach Wright. I mean, just an hour-long and really extensive breakdown of his technical abilities, his athleticism, his football IQ. Coach Wright's giving you the protections and whatnot. Yeah. So this is really, really awesome stuff. We are so thankful that Coach Wright set aside so much time of his day to do this with us.
Right. And if you want more insight from Coach Wright about what it was actually like working with a young JC Latham in high school, Justin, you did a tremendous interview with him. That is published now on BroadwaySportsMedia.com. The headline, Molding JC Latham by former IIMG head coach Kevin Wright. I will post the link to that article in the podcast description as well. So if anyone wants to go check that out, I highly encourage it. It's a great read and a great job by you there, Justin.
Thank you. And more, as I said, I remember a couple weeks ago on this pod, I think I had said I was working on some really special stuff that I had coming down the pipeline that I was excited about. I think a couple of you left comments saying, I wonder what it is, or I can't wait what it is. Well, you've now seen 50% of it. The first one was the article with Coach Kevin Wright. Part 2 of that was this All-22 breakdown with Kevin Wright. And I got 2 more JC Latham pieces coming with, again, very exclusive people who are in the same mold, so to speak, of a Kevin Wright. In fact, I'm going to say not 50%, because I just added a 5th piece that Graver and I will be doing that I can't wait to see. It's not JC Latham related. It's related to another prospect that they drafted. But, fingers crossed that comes to fruition. We're about 2.5 weeks away from it supposedly coming to fruition. So that'll hit your feeds in early June. But some really, really great stuff coming down the pipeline. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am so excited as well. So thank you, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. We appreciate you for tuning in. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. But make sure you are also subscribed to the Music City Audible. Give this video a thumbs up, like if you enjoyed this breakdown, and make sure you turn on channel alerts so you get a notification every time we drop a new video. Thanks also to our sponsor, Sinkers Beverages in East Nashville, Bluegrass Beverages in Hendersonville. Mentioned it at the top. Go to sinkersbeverages.com and join the in crowd. All right, Justin, that'll do it. We'll be back a little bit later on. I'm cooking up a video for everybody here, a little projection looking at what the Titans 2024 offense could be. So we'll drop that a little bit later this week, but until then, y'all stay safe out there and tighten up.
A Broadway Sports Media production.